Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's talk about something we're all feeling. The world is moving incredibly fast. So how are we supposed to keep up? Well, the answer might just be something called Agile project management. I mean, just think about your own job for a second. How many times this week has a plan changed? How often do you find yourself having to just adapt on the fly? It's pretty constant, right? And that old school way of doing things, that rigid top-down planning, it just doesn't work anymore. It can't keep up. So the big question is, how do we get from all that chaos to some kind of clarity? Well, that's what we're going to break down today. First, we'll dig into the problem itself. Then we'll check out the Agile alternative and how it actually works. We'll also tackle the biggest hurdle to making it happen. And trust me, it's a big one. And finally, we'll look at what an Agile future could mean for all of us. All right, let's dive right in. Why are all those old school tried and true methods for managing projects just failing us now? It really all comes down to one single word: predictability. And this quote right here, it absolutely nails it. For so long, we all kind of operated under this illusion that we could predict everything, that we could plan it all out right from the very beginning. But let's be real, in the world we live in now, that's just not going to happen. So a new way of working isn't just some nice idea anymore. It's pretty much becoming inevitable. And this, right here, really gets to the heart of the problem. It's like we're trying to use a map from 1950 to navigate a city in 2024. We're using 20th century tools for 21st century challenges. See, those traditional methods, they were perfect for problems that were linear and predictable. But today, we're facing what are called adaptive problems, the kind where you don't even know what the final solution is going to look like when you start. And in those cases, the old way of doing things isn't just unhelpful, it's actually part of the problem. Okay, so if we can't predict the future, what are we supposed to do? Well, that's where this new approach comes in, the Agile alternative. And you have to understand, this isn't just about a new process. It's about a completely new mindset. It's interesting. Let's just look at the word itself, agility. Its root comes from the Latin word agere, which means to drive or to act. And that is so key. See, Agile isn't just about being fast. It's really about taking ownership, having the actual authority to make a move, and being able to adapt to, well, whatever the world throws at you. And when you look at it side by side like this, you can really see just how radical this shift is. Think about traditional project management. It's all about control, right? A fixed plan, a fixed scope, don't deviate. But Agile, it's all about delivering value. It actually embraces change. The planning is continuous, and the customer isn't just someone you talk to at the beginning and end. They're a fully integrated partner. So the goal totally shifts. It's not about following a plan perfectly anymore. It's about delivering the best possible thing you can create. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like day to day? How do we turn these big ideas into a workflow that people can actually use? Well, it all boils down to one massive shift, moving away from control and towards collaboration. So instead of creating one giant months-long plan, Agile breaks things down into short cycles. We call them sprints. Let's say you're building a new app. In your very first sprint, maybe you just build the login screen. That's it. Then you immediately show it to the customer. And their feedback, hey, can you make that button bigger? Or we definitely need a forgot password link. That feedback directly shapes what you do in the very next sprint. It's this constant loop. Build a little, get feedback, adapt. That's the real engine of Agile. And this change doesn't just affect the team, it completely flips the role of leadership on its head. The traditional manager, they're a controller. They're focused on systems, on tasks, on how and when. But the Agile leader, they're more of a facilitator. They focus on the people. Their job isn't to bark orders, it's to inspire the team, to constantly ask, why are we doing this? And then to get all the obstacles out of their way so they can actually do their best work. So, you might be thinking, if this Agile thing is so great at dealing with our crazy, complex world, why isn't every company on the planet using it? Well, that brings us to the single biggest hurdle you could imagine. It's not the tools, it's not the process, it's the culture. And check this out. When you look at the data, it's fascinating. The biggest things stopping companies from going Agile have nothing to do with technology. They're all about people. You've got general resistance to change, that's a huge one, lack of support from the bosses, and trouble getting customers to actually collaborate. These are human problems, and man, are they the toughest ones to solve. What this really means is you can't just install Agile like you're updating your computer's software. It just doesn't work that way. It's a massive cultural shift.
It needs a real strategy to manage that change. You have to create a sense of urgency, get key people on board to champion it, and, most importantly, empower your teams to actually act on this new vision. And you gotta celebrate the small wins along the way to keep that momentum going.
All right, so let's bring it all home. If you can actually get through all those cultural hurdles, what's the payoff? What's the real prize at the end of this journey?
And here's the bottom line. Agility isn't just another process you follow. It's a core capability. It's something you build right into the DNA of your company. It's about creating an organization that can learn, that can adapt, and that doesn't just survive in a world of constant change, but actually thrives in it.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. Think about it. We've always been taught that sticking to the plan, no matter what, is a sign of discipline. But in the world we live in today, is that discipline still a strength? Or has it become a liability? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.